basically with Neighborhood Watch, you know that we use the community policing process, what we do as a police department these days. And the community policing is a philosophy that promotes organizational strategies which support the systematic use of partnerships and problem-solving techniques to proactively address the immediate conditions that give rise to public safety issues such as crime, social disorder, and fear of crime. So the community policing aspect of what we do, we try to promote partnerships. We try to get people in the community, groups in the community, churches in the community involved in making the communities safe for the citizens who live there. So we like to go into the communities and try to get neighbors to work along with each other to get situations that they may see as problems in the neighborhood, get them working together on that. The community policing process also use organizational transformation, and we try to align the organizational management would be police and city government to come together to figure out how we're going to solve some problems. And we try to come together to solve those problems by thinking about what's the best way to go about it. And the best way to go about it in the community is to get the citizens involved. So that's basically what community policing is, trying to get the citizens involved and making the process easy for everyone. So the Richmond Police Department is in partnership with the community, committed to making Richmond neighborhoods safe. That's one of our mottos. Okay, our goal is community involvement to reduce crime and the fear of crime through the following objectives. We strive to strengthen the relationship and the communication between the community and police. Of course, in the last several years, we've had bad press when it comes to the police because of all the things that are going on nationwide. But we are trying, our efforts are to improve the communication between the citizens and the police. We want to be proactive regarding crime prevention. We try to teach concepts and ideas on how to protect yourself and your home and your family as you go out doing whatever business that you may have to do in the community. So a lot of what we do is crime prevention, teaching crime prevention concepts and ideas to help you to stay safe. And we encourage neighbors to look out for each other. One thing that we found out in doing the Neighborhood Watch program is that in many communities, people who live beside each other, down the street from each other, across the street from each other, they are not familiar with each other, which is part of the problem. We're trying to get people to get out and meet their neighbors. And along with that, we also want people to report crime that's going on in the community. A lot of times we ask people, well, did you call the police? And they'll tell us no, and we ask why. And, of course, every person has their own reason on why they won't call the police. But an important aspect of what we're trying to do, and to meet our goals, is for you to call us when you see things, suspicious people, suspicious situations going on in the neighborhood. We need you to call us so that we can be aware, because we don't know everything that's happening in the city. But when we get those calls, at least we will respond to see what we can do to help the matter out. This is a quote by John F. Kennedy. Partnership is not a posture, but a process. A continuous process that grows stronger each year as we devote ourselves to common tasks. And one thing about Neighborhood Watch is if citizens in a community come together, understanding how to get things done, then there's nothing that can't be accomplished if we can do that. And that's one of the objectives that we try to do with the Neighborhood Watch program, to get people involved with each other, working out situations or problems that might be in the community, and getting the solution that works for everyone. The Neighborhood Watch concept is a very old concept. It started out in 1972, I believe it was, and it basically was a grassroots program where basically all the sheriff's department wanted people to do was to come out and cut on their porch light. There was a large number of robberies happening during this time. They was looking for ways to curb the robberies. So they just ask people to come out, turn on your lights, and make sure that things are not happening in the community. So in 2002, the NSA, in partnership with the U.S. Freedom Corps and the Department of Justice, they launched USA on Watch, which is basically the neighborhood watch program that we use today. And it has made a difference in a lot of communities when citizens come together, working on issues that concern them. Things can change in the community. But like I say, one of the hardest things to do is to bring people together, like-minded people together, to get things done. So again, like I say, we'll discuss the process and how easy it is for people to get involved in what's going on. Again, Neighborhood Watch is a process that empowers citizens living in the same area to become aware of neighborhood crime and active in reducing the fear of crime in the community. The residents are taught crime prevention methods by local law enforcement to help reduce crime and improve quality of life in the neighborhoods. Okay, again, part of our duty is to teach crime prevention concepts. Now, a lot of times when cars are being broken into, we always ask people to lock your doors. But to our surprise, a lot of people still don't lock their doors. And so that's how cars are getting broken into. That is a crime prevention process that we try to teach people to use, not just to understand, but to use. The more you use the process, the better it works for you. The Neighborhood Watch process, or the program, it requires citizens to be committed, cooperative, and willing to participate in activities. And Neighborhood Watch, it does require you to have activities that's going to help the whole community. And we'll talk about some of those things later on. Reasons for Neighborhood Watch. Number one reason is to practice crime prevention measures that eliminate opportunity for criminal activity. And when you eliminate opportunity, there's a possibility that a crime won't happen. There's something called the crime triangle, which states that opportunity is that one thing that you can influence to keep criminals from committing crimes. You can't do anything about the ability of people to commit crimes. Okay, and you can't do anything about their reasons for committing crime, but you can remove the opportunity for people to commit crimes. So we want to look at ways that we can reduce the opportunity for people to commit crimes. And again, that means things such as like locking your doors, your car doors, so the cars won't be broken into, making sure that, if you have alarms, that your alarms are set. You just try to make it harder for criminals to commit crimes. Another reason is to prepare for disaster preparedness. We had a storm last night, and of course, when storms come, you never know what the extent of the damage. So what we try to do is get people to come together and to help each other during these times of need. When trees are down or the lights go out, we make sure that people are looking out for each other. So we try to prepare you for those things, and we have many programs that you can get involved in to learn how to do those things. The number three thing is to build stronger communities. We want to make sure that people get to know each other in the community. Everybody has their routines that go on daily, but when you understand and know who your neighbors are and what they're doing, then you know what's right and what's not right in the community. So we try to get neighbors to look out for neighbors, get to know each other, get to help each other in ways that can be satisfying for everyone. There's a lot of different lifestyles being lived in the neighborhoods, where you have single people living alone, you have the elderly people living alone, you have people with illnesses and different physical abilities that are living alone. And we try to get people to come together and to look after those people as well in the community. That they are the most vulnerable population besides our kids, of course. But we want to make sure that people are looking out for each other, making sure that they are aware of what's going on. Because a lot of times we do get calls for a welfare check for people who haven't been seen in a while, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. So, in building a stronger community, we want to include everybody in the process, making sure that everybody has someone looking after them. You know, they might not have family in the area, but you know, it's nice when you have a good neighbor who comes down just to check on you from time to time. So that's how we're trying to build a stronger community as part of Neighborhood Watch, getting to know each other. Okay, we'll talk about the 5 steps to start a Neighborhood Watch. Very easy. So Neighborhood Watch programs are built upon successful relationships between the law enforcement and the community. Building a strong Neighborhood Watch program is not an overnight process. It takes patience, planning, and dedication. A successful watch program will keep communities strong and protected, and when a crime or emergency happens, citizens will be more than ready to act. So how do you start a Neighborhood Watch? Very simple. 5 steps. Step 1. When things are happening in a community, you want to create an awareness. If you know what's going on, the question you ask yourself, do the other people in the community see it as you see it? If not, this is the time to come together and to talk about it. And we have to create awareness about all the things that are happening. And you have to share information with each other. So the first step is creating awareness. That's when you ask the questions: who, what, how, when, why. You want to ask all those questions to figure out what's going on in the community, what can we do about it, and how are we going to go about doing that. You got to have a plan on how you're going to take care of the situation. Step 2, once you know that there's a situation going on, you have to organize volunteers. The volunteers are there to help the process. And basically what we're talking about is people volunteering to go out and talk to other people in the community about what's going on. Being responsible for knowing who lives in certain houses on the block. So we need volunteers to be active and people who don't mind going out meeting the other neighbors in the neighborhood. The volunteers consist of basically three sets of people: the members themselves, block captains, the other people would be responsible for knowing who lives in the neighborhood, and usually, depending on the size of the neighborhood, we'll break up the block captains, and they'll be responsible for a certain geographical area. And then the watch coordinator, that'll be the person who's going to be looking or heading the group. They'll be sort of like the overseer of the whole group. And basically, they will be the person that contacts the law enforcement when things are happening to inform us of what's going on, and they will come together and talk about some strategies on what we need to do to look at the situation and make the situation correct. So basically, the Neighborhood Watch community, the volunteers, are the members, the block captains, and the watch coordinator. Step 3, once you get a group going, we want to get some training going, and that's to show you the process. What we're trying to do in terms of making sure our community is safe, training on hardening the target, and that means making sure doors and windows, landscapes, and all these things are looked at to make the situation better for the neighborhood. We also want to bring in the police to give us training on areas that might be important to us. Because one of the things that we try to do in one of our first meetings is talk about observation skills. Try to heighten your observation skills on what you see and what you don't see. That's very important as part of your training, because a lot of times people call the police just to report something that really probably don't need reporting, but just because they think it's important that they'll call us. And an example of that is just a person walking down the street. We got like, so what are they doing? they're walking down the street, but okay, what else do you see happening? And a lot of times, people just getting off from work and trying to go home, and they may be in a strange neighborhood, but it's just walking on the street. So some people start calling just because you have a strange person walking on their street. They might not have seen them before, but for them, they get alarmed and they start calling the police. So we want to train you on observation skills, on what to look for and what to report. So that's part of the training that we'll go through. Our goal is to reduce crime and fear of crime through the following objectives: increase awareness of neighborhood crime, be proactive regarding crime prevention, encourage neighbors to look out for each other, keep an active surveillance of the neighborhood, report crime and suspicious situations to the police. Okay. And step 4, you contact your enforcement representative, which would be probably me at this point anyway, and you invite us to come to a meeting. And basically what the meeting does is I introduce the program to the whole body, let them know what Neighborhood Watch is, what our goals are, and what we want to accomplish with Neighborhood Watch. And the 5th step is to implement a phone tree. We're talking about communication here, knowing who lives in the community, knowing who lives at what house. In case of emergencies, we want to be accountable for everyone that lives on the block or in the house. So it's very important that we implement a phone tree. And basically, that's just information, general information about who lives there, and that'll be like the name of the person. Probably if they have kids, how many kids. If you want to keep up with what type of cars are in their yard, that's fine. But all we want to do is have general information on the families that live on the block. And it's information only for emergencies. No one has to get that information except for the police and the coordinator for the group. And it's not meant to be used for anything else than for emergencies, in case something happened on the street and we just need to know if it's everybody accounted for. That's the only time that information will be used. It's not to be given out to people who are running for public office or anything like that. That's not what it's for. It's just for the community or the block that has set up the group. And that's a very special comment that has to be made, because a lot of times you do have people that want to bully you for the information, but they are not privileged to it. Okay, benefits of Neighborhood Watch. Over the years, there have been benefits experienced by Neighborhood Watch groups. Communities have witnessed crime reduction, because you are the extra ears and eyes of the police department. And when you're reporting things, we are able to come in and make changes that suits everyone. It can create a better quality of life. Again, it's about helping others and ourselves, especially in times of trouble or in times of distress or whatever. We want to make sure that everyone's looked after. Gives you a greater sense of security, responsibility, personal control, and community pride and unity. And that's what we're trying to do when we say, know your neighbors. We're trying to get people to take pride in where they live, whether it be a house or apartment or whatever. We want to make sure that people are being responsible by taking care of the property, making sure that trash is not being thrown all over the place, places not being destroyed, playgrounds are not being destroyed by the kids and things of that nature. So we want to give you a sense of security by people being responsible and looking after those things. And also, you can provide law enforcement with volunteer support. Once you complete the academy, you'll have an opportunity to volunteer with the police department. We have functions and things where we need volunteers. So once you complete the academy, you have opportunity to be a volunteer with us. And also we have other opportunities as well to work along with the police. Now, one thing I will say about Neighborhood Watch is this is not a program where you're snitching on people. Okay, I hear that a lot, and people think, well, I don't want to be a snitch. Well, you're not being a snitch. What you're trying to do is make your community safe by reporting suspicious people, suspicious situations, and things that might be going on in your community. You have to do that. When you hear things going on, instead of just turning a blind eye to it, we ask you to report these things because we, as police officers, respond to calls for service. And you know what's going on in your community better than we do. So that's why we ask you to when you see things happening, go ahead and call us and so we can respond to see what the situation is. But you're not there to snitch on people to see what they're going, get involved in their business. No, that's not what we're asking you to do. We just ask you to take care of the community, to keep the community safe, make sure that things are happening in a community where no one is fearful of coming outside and enjoying their property. That's what we're trying to get people to do. Enjoy the hard work that you put in to own a home. You need to feel free to come out of your door and do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that your family's safe as well as your kids are able to get out and play outside without thinking about something about to happen. Okay, so again, Neighborhood Watch is really about the people that live in the neighborhood coming together to make the community safe. So every second and first Tuesday in August, we celebrate National Night Out. And we just want people to feel free to come in out into their yards and have a good time, have a party. This is a time that we just want people to come out and enjoy each other, have a block party, invite your neighbors over, and just enjoy the time. Now, the pictures that you're looking at are well, some of the groups that we've had over the years, where they come and they get together on National Night Out just to have a good time. And the police do come to their get-togethers to just to enjoy the time along with them. A lot of the groups have adopted their own like T-shirts as a way to identify themselves. And one thing about the group, like I say, you have control of it, so you can kind of make it any way you want it to be. And the T-shirts is a way just to identify the group. Now, one thing I will say is that over the years, what we've tried to do is to focus on one block at a time. Okay, because Neighborhood Watch can get big very quick if we try to go too far. So we try to start it in one block and proceed. If we can get more people involved in the other blocks, then we try to keep it moving that way. But if we can start with a small group, that's always good because if we can grow bigger as we get people pulled in. And it works if you work the program. Okay? Program elements. Again, we already talked about the exchange of information, and it's just basically about who lives at an address. That's what the information part is about. The neighborhood data sheet, crime stats, and are provided by your sector lieutenant. They will come to your meetings and tell you what they've seen going on in your area at a certain time. Block maps is just an area view of your neighborhood to say this block is protected by Neighborhood Watch, and it's a good way for us to keep a good tab on who's involved and who's not. So residential security inspection, well, we try to get you as a resident to conduct that yourself, and basically it's just a check sheet about your property. You'll go around and you'll look at all your doors, your windows, your landscaping, all those areas just to make sure that it's up to code and there's no problems happening around your property. We ask you to do property identification. If there are things that are valuable to you, we ask you to use some type of marking on that property to protect it. If it's stolen, like I said, there's a possibility we may be able to get it back, but it's always good to identify your property. Neighborhood watch signs. Now, there are signs all over the city, some faded, some not. But once you become a part of the program, we can place neighborhood watch signs in your neighborhood. We want you to be a part of the program before we start putting out signs because there's a budget that goes along with those signs. So we want people to be involved in what we're trying to do. And to get those signs, we ask you to be a part of the program. There's a lot of signs already posted, but when people are not aware of the program, they don't understand what the sign means, and a lot of people are not even aware that the sign even exists right outside their door. So sometimes we have to point it out to them that they're already there, and we're just trying to get people involved in the program. And again, like I said, National Night Out is observed the first Tuesday in August. So again, let me go right back over the how to start a neighborhood watch in 5 easy steps. Again, you recruit and organize as many neighbors as possible. You contact the law enforcement agency and schedule a meeting. You discuss community concerns and develop an action plan. You create a communication plan. You take action, hold meetings and events. Now, we just asked you to do 3 meetings a year. 3 meetings a year. 3 meetings a year. We don't ask you to do it every week. We don't ask you to do it every month. 3 meetings a year. And what I like to tell people is like, okay, if you look at the calendar and you look at the seasons, you have 4 seasons. You can pick 3 of those seasons to use: the spring, the fall, the summer, and the winter. You pick those 3 times, and you can kind of broaden it every 3 months. You can have a meeting just to talk about the neighborhood, what you see going on, see if there's any improvement, see if there's anything that we need to do differently. So we just actually have 3 meetings a year. Okay, and that's doable. Okay, and National Night Out could be one of those meetings. So really, all you have to do is have 2 meetings, and then on National Night Out, make sure you have some type of get together for your family. So those are the program elements that go along with Neighborhood Watch. Again, it's all about the neighbors, knowing the neighbors, looking after each other. It's not about the police. We're not there to cause havoc in your neighborhood. We just want to make sure that you are being safe and that if things are happening in your neighborhood, you are reporting them so that we will know. But it's really about you taking care of each other in the neighborhood. Okay. Also, it's very important that you have a good relationship and knowledge about your precincts. You want to know who's the head of the precinct, who's the captain of the precinct, where is the precinct located, what phone number belongs to the precinct. Those are very important to building relationships with the precinct because those are the people that you're going to be calling if there's a situation going on. First precinct, 25th and Q Street. Second precinct is 177 Belt Boulevard. Third precinct is 301 South Meadow Street. The fourth precinct is 2219 Chamberlain Avenue. 4 precincts in the city, and each precinct is divided into sectors. Each of them have sectors 1, 2, and 3. So we ask you to get to know who works in your precinct. When you see the officers coming or driving through the area, don't be afraid to stop them, ask them who they are, so that you'll know that this officer is the one that I can talk to about what's happening in the community. But the relationship with the precincts, the precinct commanders, is very important to getting things done in your community because each precinct has a sector lieutenant, and he's responsible for giving you crime stats about what's going on in your community. So again, your relationship with the police is very important to the whole process of Neighborhood Watch.